Welcome to this special ChannelX Leaders interview. Delighted to be joined today by Hugh from Stamp Free. So welcome, Hugh. How are you?
Chris, good morning. I'm good, thank you. It's good to talk to you.
Fantastic. So Hugh, tell us who you are, and more importantly, tell us about Stamp Free and its product offerings. What do you do?
Chris, thank you for that. Basically, we're a software company, and we provide phone-based AI shipping solutions to posts, to carriers, and to retailers. And it's basically so that consumers who use them can send parcels and returns as conveniently as possible. So that, in a nutshell, is exactly what we do. We have two core products. We have a label-free offering, which allows consumers to send parcels just by writing a code on a parcel, AI validating it using the camera on their phone, then shipping it in the normal way. So it's a label-free offering. And our second one is what we call app-free, and this is all about shipping parcels using social media channels like WhatsApp. So you don't actually have to download a range of retail and carrier apps to ship parcels. You just use the social media channel that you use every day. So those are our two products that are live at the moment.
So I've got to say, app-free sounds fantastic. Even better than writing a code on a parcel, just to be able to use WhatsApp, which is probably my favorite. How did you come up with the idea for it?
I can't claim credit for this one, I have to say. Tim Higginbotham, who is our CIO, came up with the idea probably nearly 2 years ago. And it was basically all around this fact that I think he has probably nearly sort of 24 apps on his phones for various carriers and retailers. And it's just the issue of having to use them on an occasional basis, certainly with posts and carriers, not being that familiar with it. And obviously, as you say, using sort of WhatsApp every day and using a channel that he's familiar with. And that's where the thinking initially came from. And we sort of developed the product from there. But he came up with the concept.
So I know you've recently partnered with Royal Mail. What exactly is app-free Royal Mail returns? How does that work?
Well, this is basically allows consumers to return items they bought online using WhatsApp, but the actual item is delivered by Royal Mail, much as it normally would be, but it's the convenience of using the WhatsApp channel. So they're engaging with retailers they normally would, returning the item, but they're using WhatsApp as a mechanism to achieve that.
So that they're actually talking to the retailer with WhatsApp, and that's generating the return all on WhatsApp without having to go anywhere else.
Exactly that. It can be accessed in a number of ways, whether it's scanning a QR code which opens a WhatsApp channel, or just messaging a specific number, and then it's just the WhatsApp message flow taking you through the returns journey, as you're probably very familiar with, and then returning the item in the normal way. But the communication is just through a message flow in WhatsApp.
So I was going to ask you, what are the kind of the main benefits for the consumer and why they should get excited? But I think you've almost more or less answered that, the fact that it's just so easy.
I think so. I think it also helps engage with a younger demographic as well, who are not that comfortable anymore having a large amount of apps on their phone, but obviously use social media channels day by day. So entirely familiar with the experience. So from their perspective, it's pure convenience.
And I've got to ask, from the retailer's perspective, what are the benefits and advantages there? I mean, do they need to have someone sat on a particular WhatsApp phone all day, or how are they going to handle this? Because I can tell you, most retailers don't have a spare customer service person.
No, that's a very good point. There's a few answers to that. One is the message flow on WhatsApp is entirely configurable. So the retailer can configure the message flow in any way they want without impacting on the IT department. The second point is, as I'm sure you're aware, when someone's looking to purchase from a new retailer online, about 84% of them will not do so unless they're comfortable that they can easily make the return back to that retailer. So surely the convenience of using WhatsApp allows them to do that. So basically, it will drive additional consumers to retailers and also additional parcel volumes to Royal Mail in this example.
So I'm kind of liking this, because what WhatsApp is kind of giving you a direct one-to-one conversation with the consumer, which brands and retailers have got to like. And it's great to handle the return that way. But are there plans to roll out any other features? I'm wondering what else you could use this channel for once you've got this open communication with a consumer that's engaging with you.
Well, there's a real opportunity here, because clearly you have the core shipping experience, as I've discussed, delivered through WhatsApp, but it is a two-way channel. And once the consumer has initiated the message flow through WhatsApp, then whether it's tracking information, whether it's finding where your parcel it is, but also sort of retail promotions that the retailer wants to send through to the consumer, can also be done as part of that conversation flow. So if I'm returning an item that I don't want, then alternative items can be messaged through to me, and I can click on them, encouraging me to purchase again from the same retailer, so they're actually not losing the revenue whilst still getting the return back on their stores, on their shelves, as soon as possible.
So this is really exciting, but I've got to ask, what about the people that don't use WhatsApp? What if I use something, I don't, Facebook Messenger, for example, or there's so many apps out there nowadays. Are there plans to integrate other platforms?
Yes, I mean, basically, we started with WhatsApp probably about a year ago developing it, but we've now developed a complete app-free, what we call an omni-channel solution, covering a range of social media channels. And you make a very good point. I think in the UK, something like 96% of people have WhatsApp on their phone. In New Zealand, it's only about 40%. If you're talking to some of these sort of former Eastern Bloc countries, they use Telegram more than they use WhatsApp. So there are a number of social media channels out there, and we're rolling out this solution to cover the vast majority of them. Certainly, you may mention Facebook Messenger, iMessenger, SMS on a Google-based phone. We're looking at Instagram. So we have a sort of program that we're rolling out channel by channel, and we're doing that at the moment. So there'll be a number of others live later this year.
So this is really, really interesting. Now, I've got to ask, can app-free be used for shipping as well as just for returns? I mean, if you're doing a return, you're generating not a shipping label, but a shipping process. Can you use it for outgoing parcels?
Well, yeah, that's a good point. I mean, specifically with Royal Mail at the moment, this is just a return service, although we're talking to them about a C2C shipping option as well and building that out. We have the solution live for the moment with Kazakhstan Post in Kazakhstan, whereby you can ship a parcel and you can go into the post office and drop it off. Now, the feedback that we've been getting from their customers, and this is the data that Kazpost have provided us, is 96% of their customers like using that solution, which is great. And also it's reduced the queue time at the counter by 2/3, which is good for the consumer and also for the postal operator as well. So that's worked really well. So yes is the short answer.
Now, before I pressed the record button, we were just chatting about the amount of travel we both have been doing. And you were telling me you've been to a ton of trade shows and conferences around the world over the past few months, the US, Europe, all over the place. How valuable are they to Stamp Free in getting face-to-face with the postal services, the carriers, the retailers, and talking about app-free? And what's the reception been like?
It's funny, Chris, you and I bumped into each other again. I think it was at the delivery conference about 6
yeah, the Metaback delivery conference. That's another conference you were at.
That which was good, and that was good for us because we were engaging with retailers there. I have to say, it was at that conference that people kept coming up to me, congratulating me, and I didn't know what it was, as if I got married. I didn't know what they were talking about, but it was to do with this Royal Mail partnership. But yes, I mean, we go to these conferences to engage with retailers and carriers. Obviously to try and secure business, but also to discuss relationships with existing clients, but also to find out what's going on in the industry, the trends, and also the problems some of these companies are facing, and obviously how we can help them. Some of the conferences work really well, some less well, but we Leads and Logistics, for example, is another one that we've been engaged for about 4 years, and that is very good for carriers, but it's also very good for retailers now, particularly over the last 2 years. They've really bumped that up, so that works really well for us. There's a number of really good trade shows and conferences that really help us on that front.
And what are your plans for app-free in 2025? What are the targets for this year?
Well, as I said, we've signed this partnership now with Royal Mail, which is great. But there's a number of carriers in the UK that we're talking to. So certainly by the end of 25, I look to be offering a similar service with a number of the other larger carriers within the UK, not just for returns, but as picking up on your point also about outbounds as well. Yes, so certainly within the UK, that's what we'll be targeting in the short term, but also for outside of the UK separately.
So this is getting really exciting then. And I know you were crowdfunding late last year. How did that go, and how are you intending to use the new finance?
It's funny because for technology companies, certainly fast growth technology companies, all of them complain about how hard it is to raise investment. From our point of view, I'm not saying we've found it easier, but because the convenience of the products we offer, people like you and me can relate to them. Engaging through a crowdfunding platform works really well for us. We've actually raised monies now 3 times on crowdfunding platforms, both with Seeders Republic and also with Crowdcube, who you may be familiar with. I think the first time was 240% oversubscribed, 243%, and then the round we just closed was literally 300% oversubscribed. So it's worked really well with us, because it is simply because people, they relate to what we're offering and they want to use the product. So that works, a really simple message to communicate. But it also is a great way of actually discussing new products with them in a sort of focus group environment and getting their feedback on it before we release it actually to the wider market.
And that's quite interesting. Apart from your own products, what are you hearing in the industry? What's the biggest innovation in the postal industry that's exciting you this year?
Well, I mean, I'm talking to you as someone who runs an AI software company, so you're expecting me to come back with some sort of exciting technical response. But I have to say, in the last 12 months, it's an old school solution, and it's the rollout of parcel lockers that we're seeing initially, obviously, across Europe and the huge take up there. Culture in the UK, we've been resistant to this, but in the last 12 months, we're seeing a huge amount of parcel lockers, particularly carrier agnostic parcel lockers, being rolled out across the UK. And clearly, from an environmental point of view, that's really good news, but also for consumers, having a locker slip a distance from their doorstep and being able to go out and ship a parcel or return it. That certainly works, particularly within the sort of urban environment. Clearly in a rural environment, it's not quite so convenient. But as a solution, and the cultural take up in the UK, and the fact that posts and carriers are now really getting behind that, that really excites me.
Yeah, and I think it's an industry that's often overlooked in the e-commerce world, because everyone gets excited about new platforms to sell on and new marketplaces or new social channels, but the kind of shipping and returns, it's almost a nuisance to have to do it. So it's good to know that the things like the parcel lockers are getting out there. Now, I've got to ask, if a retailer or brand, or indeed a postal operator or carrier, is interested in working with Stamp Free, how would they get in touch with you, and what stage are you? I mean, I've got to ask, I know you've launched the program with Act Free and Royal Mail. Are you ready for retailers to come to you and say, hey Hugh, I want to use this today?
Okay, so that's a great question, clearly, from our point of view. The bottom line is, if you go to stampfree.ai, you'll find us, and you can contact us through that, or literally just Google Stamp Free, you'll find us. That's dead simple. And yes, we're live now with Royal Mail. I think we're looking to average about a sort of 2-week take-up time from when a retailer contacts us to actually being integrated, getting them integrated on their platform and going live.
That is quick.
So it's literally plug and play and get on with it. So yeah, we're ready to go. We've had more staff to take this product to market. So yes, we look forward to hearing from you as the bottom line.
And talk to me about the type of retailers and brands that may be watching this. What scale do they need to be for it to be if an effective solution? Obviously, they're going to have returns, but is it sort of 5 or 6 returns a day, or 50 returns a day, or 100 returns a day? When does it become the sweet spot for using Act Free with Royal Mail?
Okay, well, we have 2 sort of product levels, sort of pro and light. A light version is literally plug and play. You get on with it, and that's to a retailer with any number of returns. They can literally plug it in and get on with it. For the larger retailers where they're looking for a more bespoke offering, then we have our pro version, and that probably take a week or 2 longer, being totally honest. And that's really just because the volume of returns they're looking at, and also they're looking to configure the journey more themselves, and we can help them with that. But whether you're the largest retailer in the UK or whether you're returning an item a day, all of those can work for the platform.
Oh, that is fantastic news. I really like the fact that it'll work for the smaller SMEs as well as the giant retailers of the land. So I'm really looking forward to hearing from you when we've got some retailers actually using this. And if you want to be one of the first retailers to use Act Free, then stampfree.ai is the place to go. Or if you don't mind, I'm going to pop your LinkedIn profile below this video as well. so people can contact you directly.
That'd be great, Chris. Thank you for that.
Fantastic. Hugh, thank you so much for your time today.
A real pleasure, Chris. Good to talk to you.